Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X here, and today I'm actually going to get the Hellcat out. It has been about 3 weeks since I've had this car out, maybe a little more. It's been just bad storms here in the DFW area, and you know what? Today I'm going to go give this thing a bath, maybe do a little bit of street testing with this car, and just have a little bit of fun with it. So, should be a fun one, guys. Also, if you are new to my channel, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. I have all sorts of neat things planned for you this year. It should be an amazing year. And we are off. We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. It does feel really nice to get the car out again, guys. It's funny because this guy sits in the garage most of the time now. And on a day like today, beautiful day, it's always fun to get this beast out and take a little cruise and have a little fun. Oh, it feels so good to be back in the Hellcat. I couldn't have picked a more beautiful day to come out and take this car for a little cruise. I'm actually cruising down the back roads in this thing, and it's just like when you're used to driving naturally aspirated cars like the Mustang or the Scat Pack, and then you jump back in your Hellcat that makes over 1,000 horsepower. It is just this thing is ridiculous. It is so much fun. So one of the things about these cars, and really kind of the case with all cars, is you kind of have to put some fuel through them every once in a while, especially on E, like this one is, on E85, just to kind of keep them healthy and happy. You got to kind of keep that fuel circulating so often. I kind of feel bad that I haven't driven the car in over 3 weeks, so it does feel good to put a little fuel through it. Just listen to it. This thing is insane. Okay, so my heat is spiking right now to about 3/4. I think I might have a problem. I need to pull over. I'm seeing something that I've never seen before on this car. The car is literally overheating. It's coming down just a little bit, but my car has 180-degree stat in it. It typically never even approaches halfway on the engine heat gauge here, and it is almost at 3/4. It's starting to come down just a little bit, but this is probably bad news, guys. I got to get this figured out. Okay, so if I'm just driving it really chill and normal, it seems to be okay, but it still approaches kind of that halfway mark, which it doesn't normally do. So something is definitely wrong. Obviously, I'm not going to get it back into boost, but I'm going to have to get this thing back to the house and take a close look. There's something wrong, so I got to figure out what's going on. Now, I am actually back at the house, and I just took a look at the Hellcat, and the coolant seems to be okay in the car. It doesn't look low, and everything seems to be normal. So that leads me to believe one of two things. Either my stat that's in the car, I have 180-degree stat in this car, and it has gone the way of the wind, and it is now out of commission. Now, keep in mind, I have had this stat in the car for a long time. I think I've had it in there for like over 4 years. It's one of those Mashimoto 180-degree stats. Of course, the car's been tuned for it, and as we know, this car makes a lot of power. Either that being the best case scenario, or the other scenario, which would be bad, is I actually lifted the head in the car. I don't see anything leaking, so I'm hoping that's okay. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but if I lifted the head, that's going to be a whole nother issue. So I got to figure out what to do here. So after kind of having some conversations with a couple of my buddies, I think the best thing to do right now is just go ahead and order a brand new stat. I'm actually going to order like 170-degree stat on this. It won't hurt the car at all, and maybe even keep it even cooler, especially considering how much I drive it. I'm going to throw a new stat in the car, see if that fixes the issue. If it does not fix the issue, then we'll know that we got to move to the next thing, which is probably a much more invasive problem. So fingers crossed. Unfortunately, the Hellcat, it's done for the day, and for probably several days until I can get this thermostat in. So we'll see. Okay, guess what? I have another bright, sunny day here in the DFW Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth. So I went ahead and pulled the Hellcat out. I did get a new stat in for the Hellcat. So let me go ahead and show you that. And I got to get this bad boy installed and then test it out. And let's hope that the Hellcat starts to run right. Let's hope the heat issue resolves itself here. Okay, now as you can see, this new stat actually is from a different company. It's like Reich right here. I'll go ahead and put that. Description up here. It's 170 degree stat versus the 180 that I had in there before. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to get these bolts off of here, and I'm actually going to have to put a trash bag under here so I don't lose all of my coolant. I do have a little bit more in reserve, and we'll go ahead, get the new stat in, and then we'll put the Hellcat through its paces and see what happens. Okay, so here you can see this is the brand new 170 degree stat ready to go in. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually getting this garbage bag. Obviously, this is what we're going to undo right here. It's going to take a 13 millimeter socket, just a couple of bolts here. Should be pretty easy to do. I'm getting this trash bag just kind of situated under here. You can see I've kind of got it duct taped in a couple of places. Hopefully it won't leave any residue. I can get that off. It's kind of hard to get it around the backside. I know it's really going to want to drip in here. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and take the intake off to go ahead and give me a little bit better just access to this to make sure I don't lose very much coolant, which then I can put back in here. And just a couple of things here to undo. You can see you've got your normal 3 screws here, and we're off to the races. All right, so we got the cold air intake is off, as you can see. Got this trash bag completely underneath there, so we'll go ahead and get these two bolts removed and expose the stat and get it replaced. Both bolts are out. They actually were real hard to take out of here, but I will say, now keep in mind, sometimes this fluid can get pretty hot, guys, so even if your car's just been idling for a few minutes, you may want to wear at least a set of gloves or something to protect you a little bit, but this fluid does get a little hot, so I recommend maybe letting your car sit for a few minutes. And you can see, even though I do have this trash bag under here and I collected a lot of the fluid, it still is... it's still trying to come out and make an appearance just a little bit. That is to be expected with this sort of a little project, so keep that in mind. All right, so there we do have the stat exposed. You can see I just put that up there. And there is a little bit of corrosion in here. So this has probably been something I've been needing to do for a while, let's say. But, you know, like I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I guess since we're broke, we'll fix it. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get that bad boy out of here. We'll get the new stat and put it on in and get everything bolted up. So one other little quick tip on these stats is when you go to put these things in there, they don't actually seat nice and flush when you go to put them in. So you kind of have to use the housing right here and just kind of put both bolts in and then just basically go at it a little bit at a time on each bolt. And the housing here will actually help the thing to kind of seat down in there the way it needs to be, because it needs to get a really good seal here. So just a little tip. Right, so the new stat is, it's in. It's all bolted up. Everything's nice and snug. I'm pretty sure we're going to be good for leaks, but as we fill this thing back up, we will double check. So now I got to set off to go ahead and get this thing filled back up. Coolant is successfully back in the car. As you can see, I actually filled this up about 1 inch above the line, which you really kind of can't see. It's over here. But at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and throw the intake back on the car. We'll let the car idle for a while, I should say, and we'll go ahead and take it down the road. And then we'll put it through its paces and see if that fixed the problem. Now, as you can see, I am back in the Hellcat. I'm just kind of running it around a little bit. I'm letting the system kind of burp itself, so to speak, and make sure all the bubbles are out. So this is just part of the process. Now, as I took that stat out, I really did notice not only was the stat really corroded, but so was kind of the housing around it. So I took extra time to make sure that I sort of brushed all that out, made it really nice and clean. Like you saw, I got a lot of nice new fluid in here. And as I'm driving it around, it's not even a quarter of the way up on the gauge. So this is actually, I think, the coolest I've ever seen this car run. Of course, this is 170 degree stat versus 180 degree stat. But at the same token, this is very promising as I look at this, because I believe that this probably fixed the problem. But I'll go ahead and run around a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and get into some boost on this and see what it will do. If it stays cool, we know the problem has been resolved. This car is so pissed off. that's how hot it's getting. It's staying really nice and cool. So this stat is most definitely doing its job. All right, well, I have put the car through its paces. The car is very, very happy. It is staying really nice and cool. So this new stat obviously did the trick. So I am super, super relieved that it wasn't something like a lifted head gasket or something really invasive. So once again, I've got a happy Hellcat, and that makes me a happy Hellcat owner. Well, that about does it. I'm super relieved that the stat is doing its job. It's keeping the Hellcat really nice and cool, actually cooler than I think I've ever seen it run. And I am really, really stoked. So this video just sort of took a weird turn on me. But at the end of the day, I've got a happy car once again, and there's something to be said for that. I also do want to make a quick mention that you can't just throw one of these stats in the car, whether it's a 170, 180, or whatever it is, without a tune pretty much. If you do it without the tune, you're probably going to burn your fans up. So there's some things they actually put in the tune to help these things really run correctly. So I do want to put that out there. Obviously with this one, my car has already been tuned and makes a lot of power. So anyway, little qualifier there, but it's been a fun one, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments down below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.